Hey guys, today we're looking back at some of your favourite Am I the A-hole stories from last year. What would you do if you found out that your brother and sister are in a secret romantic relationship? Am I the a-hole for not telling my parents about my brother's relationship with our adopted sister? Post by Ultra Ethical. I have a brother who's 18 and an adopted sister who's 22. My sister was adopted by my parents when she was 7 years old, and she's grown up with us. I recently found out that my brother has been in an intimate relationship with her. I confronted him about this, being utterly disgusted and threatened to tell our parents. My brother told me that he doesn't see her as our biological sister, and they're both consenting adults, and that it should be none of my business. He broke down and said he loves our sister and that she loves him too. I felt like puking, and I don't even know how to describe how repulsed I felt hearing his justifications. However, if I were to tell my parents about their relationship, they would disown my brother and sister. My parents are amazing parents, but unfortunately, they're ultra-religious Mormon cultists and extremely hysterical about certain things. They will no doubt sever all ties with my siblings if I tell them about their relationship, breaking apart our family. And my siblings will despise me for the rest of my life. I don't want any of that to happen, which is why I'm hesitating to tell my parents, even though I'm profoundly disturbed and traumatized by the discovery. But keeping this secret from my parents is weighing on me. I feel like I'm betraying my parents and helping the devil. My brother and sister have never been particularly close to me, but my parents have always been there for me. And I feel like an a-hole keeping this horrific secret from them. Am I the a-hole? The thing that keeps sticking out to me throughout this entire post is how OP isn't worried or horrified for a brother who's either been groomed or straight up essayed as a minor. No, she's repulsed by him and his justifications? All she seems to care about is her feelings. How can you write all this out, yet still somehow see yourself as a victim here? Also, kinda getting a golden child vibe. Anyone else getting that vibe? Am I the a-hole for ignoring my sister and threatening to move out because she keeps calling me an incel? Post by Ignoranius. I'm a 23-year-old guy, and my younger sister, who's 15, is currently in the phase where she thinks she's the most unique and special person in the entire world. Because of this, she's also developed some sort of superiority complex against other people's hobbies, especially if she doesn't like them. The problem started when she started using the word incel to insult me and my hobbies out of nowhere. She knows that this word hurts me, so now she keeps calling me an incel just to elicit a reaction from me. I'm playing a video game, I'm an incel. I'm watching anime, I'm an incel. I'm building a Gundam, I'm an incel. I've talked to her about it and asked if she knows the meaning. She said she knows perfectly well what it means and thinks that I fit the description. I asked her why she thinks so, and she said that she just knows that I'm an incel. Well, because of that, I've been ignoring her. This seemed to piss her off because she began to harass me even more, such as pulling my headphones off just to call me an incel, and even just using incel as a generic nickname for me. I talked to my parents last night and told them that if they don't do anything about her behaviour towards me, then I will move out of the house. My dad and I pay 50-50 for everything because his salary alone can't sustain all the bills. My mum is a volunteer worker in an animal shelter and refuses to seek a job because we come from a culture where men are expected to be the sole providers. She justifies my sister's behaviour as being just a typical teenager, and is begging me to be more understanding because I'm the older and more mature one. My dad, on the other hand, knew that I was serious and agreed that they need to punish my sister. I don't like ultimatums, but I feel like I don't have any other choice right now. I don't want to yell at my sister or even fight with her because I know it will simply make her attitude even worse towards me. Update, about 3 weeks later. Shortly after I gave my ultimatum, my dad punished my sister by taking away everything that I paid for her, like her laptop, phone, PC and Switch. He told her that this is your life without your brother. But since then, my sister has become even more aggressive towards me. She calls me daddy's boy, snitch, coward, etc. whenever we pass each other, both in public and at home. She's even started throwing things at me, unprovoked, even when I'm not looking. They were soft things like towels, socks, or stuffed toys, but still. My mum keeps making excuses for her and even consoled her when she was crying over her things being taken away. That was when I fully realised and accepted that she was my mum's favourite. When I finally told my dad that I wanted to move out, he was understanding. He kept apologising to me for not doing anything earlier because he was always at work. He's now making it up to me by helping me look for an affordable renting space. My mum, on the other hand, didn't take it very well. She's extremely cold to me now. She told me that I'm abandoning her. According to my dad, she cries every night because she can't accept the fact that I'm moving out. For now, I'm temporarily staying with a kind friend. My dad encouraged me to detach myself from my mum and my sister as soon as possible when I told him that she'd started throwing things at me. I don't think I'll be having any sort of relationship with my mum or my sister anytime in the future. But I do feel really bad for my dad, having to deal with my mum and my sister alone. Down in the comments, someone asked, "Can you ask your dad for the stuff you paid for so that you can sell it?" Opie responded, "I told my dad that he can give back the things I bought her, only if she shows real remorse and genuinely apologizes to me. If nothing changes, then I might take you up on your advice and just keep everything for myself or sell them." My dad's been a real champ right now. He's offered to pay for the first 2 months worth of rent, despite me telling him that he doesn't need to. I have my own savings after all. He feels really guilty about not noticing my sister's behaviour towards me for so long, and he thinks it's the least he could do for me. Someone else says, "Your dad needs a divorce." Opie responds, "I'd be happy if he could. Unfortunately, divorce isn't legal here in the Philippines, so he's basically stuck with my mum for the rest of his life." Then Opie added more context. "I live in the Philippines, where even up to 5 generations of families live under one roof. It's normal, in fact, it's expected for kids to take care of and financially support their parents and their grandparents as soon as they have their own jobs. So, me living with my parents at my age is actually the normal thing in my culture. I don't pay rent, it's our house, I don't rent there. I pay all the bills, since I have a bigger salary than my dad. Well, my dad buys all the groceries. My mum doesn't work, and she doesn't want to work. I still respect my mum, despite her obvious favoritism towards my sister. She's still my mum after all. My sister, on the other hand, not anymore. I'm a teacher, so teenagers being a-holes to me every day is normal. However, I don't want the same behaviour in my own home. I don't want to deal with the same teenager tantrums I've been dealing with at work, especially when I'm trying to rest or just minding my own business. When I'm at school, I have some authority. I can call their parents, the guidance counsellor, someone who can correct their behaviour. But at home, I don't have that same authority. I'm just her brother. I can't force her to behave, and my mum doesn't do anything to correct her behaviour. I've had a heart-to-heart talk with my mum, and she still thinks that my sister is innocent. She thinks that my sister is just joking, and she genuinely doesn't think she needs discipline. I get that siblings being annoying is normal, however, my sister is old enough to know that her actions have consequences. Not only that, but her words could ruin me and my career. I work at the same school that my sister goes to. What if she calls me an incel in front of my students? What if she spreads false rumours about me abusing her if I ever discipline her? What if she tells people that I force her to do things against her will? Do you know how devastating that could be for me? Opie's sister is about to get one hell of a wake-up call. Don't call the golden goose an incel. Am I the a-hole for refusing to lend my brother money after he squandered his inheritance? Posted by Crypto Cheetah. Here's the deal. I refused to lend my brother money after he blew through his entire inheritance in less than a year. I'm the more, let's say, financially responsible one in the family. I've always been about budget, savings, and the whole 9 yards. My brother, on the other hand, lives for the moment. When our grandfather passed away, he left us both a significant amount of money. I used mine to pay off my mortgage and invested the rest for retirement. My brother? He went on a wild spending spree. Luxury vacations, a sports car, you name it. Fast forward to last week. My brother showed up at my door, looking like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's broke. The inheritance is gone. Poof. Just like that. And then comes the kicker. He's asking me for a small loan to tide him over. His family, sure, but here's the thing. I've bailed him out before. Several times, actually. And it always goes the same way. He promises it's the last time, and then, boom, back to square one. I told him I couldn't help this time. I said it was time for some tough love, that he needed to learn to manage his finances and deal with the consequences of his actions. He called me heartless and said family should always have each other's backs. Mum and Dad are on his side, claiming I'm being too harsh and I should help him out, just this once. I've heard that before. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Should I have just lent him the money? Or was I right to think that it's about time he learned his lesson the hard way? Not the a-hole. If you keep helping him, being his crutch, he will never take responsibility or learn to stand on his own 2 feet. You're not helping him, you're enabling him. Give him advice, a couch, but not money. And if your parents have a problem with that, remind them that he's their son, not yours. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to break up with my fiancé, who also happens to be my stepsister? Posted by a throwaway account. Yes, the title is correct. I, 28 male, have been in a relationship with my now fiancé, 27 female, for the last 5 years, and we've now been engaged for a couple of weeks. She also just happens to be my stepsister. Our parents want us to break it off and break up because they think it's weird. The problem is, I've known my fiancé for more than 8 years now, and the only reason we're now step-siblings is because her father and my mother started to date 3 years back after we introduced them to each other and got married last year. My mother and her father were both single when we introduced them to each other at a 23rd birthday party, and we never thought a relationship would happen between them because they're worlds apart. We thought introducing the parents was just one of those things that comes with being in a relationship. Neither my father nor her mother is alive. We found out about them dating 7 months into their relationship, and yes, it was weird as hell, but we decided to stay out of it because it's their relationship and has nothing to do with us, and they seemed happy. Everything was going sort of okay, but we did keep our distance from them as the situation was still weird for us. They also left us alone, but that all stopped after their wedding. It began with weird comments here and there, and my mother all of a sudden started talking to me about this pretty girl she works with, or the new girl at the grocery store, wanting to introduce me. Her father basically did the same, but in a more subtle way, talking about not getting married too young, traveling, enjoying life, and all of that. We found this strange and repeatedly asked them to stop. After I proposed, everything escalated. They were pissed when we told them. They got visibly angry, yelling at us and asking, what will people think? Are we trying to make them look bad? We're siblings! The joke of us dating has gone on long enough. It's time we broke up. We're no longer allowed to date each other because we became a family after they married. They actually demanded that we call off the engagement and break up because they're tired of how awkward we make them feel and having to hear people talk behind their backs. They said we were disgusting. My fiancé was actually in tears at this point. I told them to go F themselves as we did nothing wrong. And if anyone was disgusting, it was them because who goes and marries the parent of their child's partner? If they want to see disgusting, they should look in the mirror. Things almost got physical between me and my fiancé's father. But my fiancé came between us and asked if we could just leave. I was pissed. I don't think I've ever been that angry. Now, call me childish, disgusting, the a-hole, or whatever, but with how pissed I was, I went to get in one last jab before leaving their house. So before I walked out the door, I yelled, "Don't worry about us, just know I'll enjoy effing my sister tonight." My fiancé was annoyed by that comment and told me in the car that it was unnecessary. But the next morning, when emotions weren't so high, she actually laughed at it. She said it was still unnecessary though, and I kind of agree with her. Our phones have been going crazy with all the calls and texts from our parents, telling us they refuse to support us and will cut us off if we decide to continue dating, and a bunch of other things that I don't think I can say on here. My fiancé and I are on the same page. We will not break up or call off anything, and if that means cutting them off, then we're happy to do so. I know it looks bad, as we are technically step-siblings, and I don't want to sound like a 9-year-old, but we dated first. What if we were already married? Would they then demand that we get a divorce? My fiancé agreed with me posting under a throwaway to ask for judgment because this whole situation and the demands are complete BS in my opinion. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. If and when our parents show up again, which they will, I'm working on a couple more jabs. If you have any suggestions, please share. Petty AF over here. What I want to know is what the parents said at their wedding. You know, the cute story about how they met. Betting they left out a couple of details. So obviously, OP and his fiancé are not in the wrong here. The parents are nuts. They're only step-siblings because of the parents' actions. So if they think it's so weird, they shouldn't have started dating each other in the first place. Down in the comments, there's a few suggestions on what OP should say to the parents. Engineering Win says, I'll stop effing my sister the day you get a divorce. Finding Balance says, answer the door and tell them stepsis can't come because she's stuck in the dryer again. Blonde suggested getting a couple of t-shirts that say brother and sister so you can put them on before you open the door to the next visit. You could get a lot grosser than that, but that's the PG version. And OP responded, just got another idea, thank you. We'll get the t-shirts, do a photo shoot and post the pictures. Or invite them to an engagement party where we'll wear the t-shirts. Would I be the a-hole for continuing to wear a swimsuit in my friend's hot tub? Posted by Valley's Heareth. I'm currently spending the week visiting a couple that I've been friends with for many years now. I get along really well with both of them, and it's been nice to catch up and spend some time in their part of the country. They have a really nice house, and recently they added a private hot tub area out the back and said I was welcome to use it. It's got a small sauna, the hot tub, and an outdoor shower, and it's all enclosed for privacy. They're fairly open about the fact that they use it naked. I know they've visited European spas where swimwear isn't allowed. They're not nudists, they just prefer to not wear anything in spas. They've got some little jokey signs up in the spa area about being nude and another about etiquette like showering before getting in the hot tub and sitting on a towel in the sauna. But one of the etiquette rules says that swimwear is not allowed, and I ignored that. I get it, it's their thing, but it's not something I want to do, so I wore my swimwear. I left it to dry with the towels, which they noticed, and asked if I'd worn it. I told them that I had, and they said that it wasn't appropriate because they don't allow swimwear. For me, it just felt weird to get naked, because it's just a preference, and in a way, no one was around when I used it, so I didn't feel the need to follow that particular rule. I followed all the others. I said, I just don't want to be out there naked and have someone come along and see me. I said I'd do it if they promised to not also use it while I'm using it. I don't mind them being naked, but I'd rather have something on. They both said, it's not a big deal to be naked in a spa, and that if I use it while they're out, or while they're working, it's unlikely that either of them will come out and use it at the same time as me. But they won't promise to give me private use. They're saying that as it's their house, I should respect their rules and use it without my swimsuit. But they're basically saying that I can't object to them coming out and joining me while I'm naked. It wasn't a super heated argument, just a debate about the principle. They've told me I shouldn't use it if I'm not willing to do so naked, and accept that they may also want to use it at the same time. Would I be the a-hole if I ignored them and just kept wearing my swimsuit when I use it? This is a really weird rule to try and enforce. Do they have secret cameras or something? Or are they trying to use this as a way of initiating a threesome? Maybe you should use it again, wearing a swimsuit, but don't leave the swimsuit lying around, and see if they say something. Cause if they do, you know they're spying on you. Update. So this post got way more attention than I was expecting, and some of the comments are wild. I wanted to put an update to say how the rest of the week went. Firstly, they weren't trying to do anything sexual and there were no cameras. Damn. Before anyone else asks, yes, I did check for the sake of being able to say that I have. There was nothing in my room, nothing in the bathroom or outside in the spa. A Redditor sent me an article about it and a link to an app for detecting them, so I'm sure as I can be that the place isn't bugged. I, 28 female, have known them, 26 female and 29 male, for 7 years. She's from the Netherlands originally, and he used to live there, but we currently live in Wales. I've stayed with them before, but the spa is new since my last visit. As some of you stated, I would be the a-hole if I kept using it and ignoring their rules, so I tried it without a swimsuit while they were out at work, and that went fine. Obviously, it felt a bit odd at first, but nothing too scary, and I can see the appeal and the reasons for going without. I spoke to 26 female that evening, and we sat down so I could ask why do they have the nudity rule, beside it not being a big deal to them. She was very understanding, and I think we communicated a lot better than the first time. She explained that the main reason they chose to spend money on it was that they would have somewhere here that they can use without wearing swimwear. They understand it isn't for everybody, but they bought it for them, not for anyone else. She said that people here have plenty of options if they want to visit a spa in swimwear, and basically, I don't have to use their stuff if I don't want to be naked. They mainly had 2 issues. She felt it was rude the way I'd asked to use it before whenever I wanted, and that they would have to work around my schedule, which is apparently how I made it sound. I did apologise for how I came across. She also made a point that it wasn't appropriate that I suggested to stay clothed while her husband was naked in there. I said it caught me off guard, as I wasn't expecting it to apply to guests, and I just assumed that they wanted to be nude, but wasn't expecting me to be also. Apparently, the spas they use in the Netherlands require that everyone be naked to use the saunas and the pools. Even the changing rooms are mixed gender, and you just wear a dressing gown in the restaurant. Most will have a couple swimwear days where the opposite applies and swimwear is mandatory. So it's all or nothing, which makes it fair for everyone, and that's why they objected to me coming in with them with a swimsuit on. She said it's better for you and the equipment to be naked. It's especially more hygienic and it's easier to maintain them. She explained how important it was to use the shower before and when moving between the hot tub and the sauna, as well as to dry off and sit on a towel when in the sauna. Just lots of info I didn't really have any ideas on before. They were happy to agree to times I could use it alone, but they'd assumed I'd understood that during the day, when they're out, was a time they'd suggested that I could use it and have some privacy. She said if I wanted to use it in the evenings, I could just check with them and agree on separate times so no one intrudes on the other, and that they'd never barge in on me without checking that I was either not in there at all or that I was covered up if they thought I was using it naked. Then I asked whether I could have worn one of my swimsuits if it was washed appropriately so as to not cause issues for them cleaning the hot tub. She said that'd be fine if I really didn't want to go in naked, but she didn't recommend wearing a swimsuit in the sauna, but she said I could go wrapped up in a towel if I wanted to be covered up. She said she didn't mind me joining her while she used it naked, but that I should just ask 29 male if he minded, because she'd find it weird if one of his male friends wanted to come in when she was naked but insisted on being dressed. She suggested that they could put some swimwear in the wash so we can all use it together before I leave if I really wasn't comfortable with nudity, which was really kind of her. I owned up to using it again, wearing my swimsuit, and we laughed it off. She just doesn't get why I cared because they weren't even home. I then said I tried it again without, and I wouldn't mind trying it again with her. She and I went in together, without swimsuits. She reassured me that I didn't need to be self-conscious or anything, and to take my time. Then, on the last night, I built up the courage to go in with both of them. It was completely platonic before anyone asks. Scary at first, but also exhilarating. I was definitely making a big effort to maintain eye contact, but 29 male was very respectful, and I felt at ease with them in the end. I didn't forget I was naked or anything, but after a little while, I just felt okay with it, which I wasn't expecting to happen so fast. So, no big drama in the end. While the thought of nudity in front of others still makes me uncomfortable, I'm very glad I gave this a go. Thanks to everyone who offered their advice and support for this first-time nude spa goer. Am I the a-hole for not telling my boyfriend that I won money 15 years ago? Posted by Sweet Cherry Pies. My boyfriend, 35 male, and I, 35 female, were discussing finances as we want to be on the same page. He moved in with me unexpectedly 3 months ago, as his landlord decided he wanted to move into the property with his family. We were discussing finances and the topic of how I own my own place came up. I explained that I want some money, not a lot, but enough to put myself through nursing school, purchase my own home, and have some savings. Back in 2009, and I bought my place outright and then rented it out until I moved back into it in 2018. Obviously, I had some luck on my side as this was right in the middle of the recession, so I got my place for real cheap. He says I deceived him by giving him the impression that I was financially well off and that I led him to believe that I was more business savvy than I was. I don't know how I did that because I literally work as a nurse and make decent money, fully own my own home, fully own my own car, and have a decent retirement plan and decent savings. I'm fairly certain that I am financially better off than most people I know. He says he can't trust me anymore and that he was stupid to have listened to my financial advice, but the thing is, I never gave him any financial advice, except for telling him to not buy a car that was, in my opinion, unreliable and much too expensive. Did I deceive him by not telling him how I got myself financially stable? FYI, we've been dating for almost a year and a half. Update. I just had another very weird conversation with him, and honestly, I can't wrap my head around it. Yeah, so he's definitely a gold digger. He asked me how much money I have in savings, and seemed impressed with how much. He then said, maybe he reacted too aggressively, and then told me that he still wants the car that I advised him not to get. He hinted at me getting it for him as a birthday present, since it's his birthday in early March. I am definitely dumping him. I'm going to wait until my two sisters and my two brother-in-laws can come over before I break up with him, in case he reacts crazy. He's jealous and also resentful. He's ranting about how he would have tripled the money if he'd won it. By buying expensive, crappy cars? Yeah, I'm sure. He's saying that my money is wasted on me because I don't make it make money. Apparently, I should have been investing my savings in high-yielding stocks and other stuff. FYI, I do get financial advice from a financial advisor I trust. I'm a risk-averse person, so I would never invest it in the manner this idiot is telling me to. Sure, the chance to get a lot of money is there, but so is the chance to lose it all. He's now on a crazy rant because I suggested we take a break from this argument because I don't want to ruin my few days off. My god, I can't believe how he's behaving. He thinks he's so clever, but I'm thoroughly disgusted. Oh, it is absolutely over between us. Update 2. Okay, so I understand him better now. So my house and the property it's on is what led him to believe that I was much richer than I am. He assumed that I was loaded. So me telling him that I actually got lucky pissed him off. Then when he found out how much in savings and assets I have, he perked up and had a change of mind. He's now telling me that just with a quarter of my money, he can show me how to invest in the stock market and make some real money. He is genuinely deluded. He wants you to give him a quarter of your money? You are financially savvy. You bought a house and put yourself through school and saved the rest. You still have your winnings. I mean, your house is probably worth even more now. I bet if he'd gone that windfall, he'd have wasted most of it on luxuries and then gambled the rest away on high-risk investments. Am I the a-hole for not participating in my fiancé's weird Christmas underwear tradition? Posted by Xmas Straws. This year, I celebrate Christmas with my fiancé's family for the first time. Before we went to my fiancé's parents' house, my fiancé warned me that his parents usually come short in the amount of food they cook for Christmas dinner, and that there's often not enough for everyone. What I didn't expect, though, was to be expected to participate in the family's weird tradition. Apparently, they have a long-standing tradition where instead of straws being drawn, they'll throw all their underwear in a bin, and then take turns wearing a blindfold and drawing a pair of underwear from the pile. Drawing the smallest pair of underwear correlates to drawing the smallest straw. I've never heard of this tradition, so I felt blindsided when, right before Christmas dinner, my fiancé's mum yelled out that it was time to pull the straws to decide the order of who got to plate up their food first, in case there wasn't enough for everyone. At first, I thought the family was joking, so I laughed, which made my fiancé get real defensive. I then volunteered to get my food last, so I wouldn't have to participate. But my fiance just got more annoyed and asked me to just try and be more agreeable. The whole thing was just kind of weirding me out, so I called an Uber and went home. Now things are really tense between me and my fiance since he now says I made a bad impression by acting like I was too good for their family tradition. Am I the a-hole? This would be weird even if they were using straws, not their dirty underwear. Just cook more food, or everyone bring a plate. What the hell is wrong with these people? Down in the comments, Paper says, "What the F? Not the a-hole. This doesn't seem like it could possibly be real, but I also don't know how you'd come up with this, so I'm inclined to believe you. It's so gross to have to touch other people's dirty underwear, even more so when they're not people you're directly related to or particularly close to. It's weird and embarrassing to have your underwear on display for everyone. Plus, imagine your underwear being the smallest or the largest pair, or having a period stain on it, or discharge. My in-laws should never see my underwear, and I don't know if I'd feel worse about them seeing my tiny sexy ones or the more full coverage ones that I wear during my period. They have to know this is not a normal thing. You could have and should have been warned. This problem could have easily been fixed by them simply making more effing food, or asking guests to bring a dish to share so there'd be enough to go around. Once again, not the a-hole. I would have noped right out there too. And if I were you, I'd tell your fiance that I am too good for their family tradition, because honestly, it's weird and trashy. Am I the a-hole for blowing up on my friend who constantly makes comments about my boobs? Posted by a throwaway account. I have big boobs. I'm currently at 52 kilos and there's nothing I can do to change the size of these things, unless I have surgery. I am also extremely shy and from a very conservative family, so my resentment and shame towards my bust is an ongoing issue. My friend Sarah is one of those unfiltered free thinkers who says whatever on her mind. She's also slim and her chest is very much in proportion to the rest of her body. We work together and I've always secretly been jealous of how great shirts and tops look on her, whereas I feel I look very sloppy and unprofessional with oversized ill-fitting clothes. Sarah has this way of always bringing up my boobs in conversation, starting off complimentary but often ending with a subtle insult. She knows they're a physical feature I'm uncomfortable with but doesn't let up. Examples of things she'll say is how my boobs look great now, but give it a few years and they'll be down to my knees, ha ha ha. Or she'll show me comments on Reddit where people are discussing chest size preferences, and most are commenting that they much prefer a small bust over large. Or just a general reminder of how work or men will never take me seriously because of my cartoon boobs. I know she's just trying to have lighthearted fun, but it gets to me. And I've told her a few times to drop it before. This isn't lighthearted fun. She's so jealous of your boobs and she's taking it out on you. We're currently working from home and we all have daily video calls and meetings. Uniform isn't necessary and we can wear whatever we like. A few days ago, it was extremely hot and I was wearing a lighter, more revealing top than my usual baggy cover-ups. During this video call, in front of 6 other colleagues, Sarah starts vocalizing her thoughts on my appearance. Oh my god, put those away! You look like you're in a porno. We don't need to see that first thing in the morning, ha ha ha. I was mortified. One of the other colleagues laughed along, but the rest looked uncomfortable. I felt close to tears and made an excuse and left the meeting. Sarah called me up half an hour later asking what was wrong, and I went off on her. I told her to go F herself and I was sick of her constant jabs about my appearance. I went on a 10-minute tirade and then hung up. Sarah has been off sick since that day and we haven't spoken again. I'm wondering if I was too harsh and maybe should I call and apologise for my outburst? Was I the a-hole? Absolutely not. Do not apologise. She's bullying you for your appearance. If anything, you should report her to HR. You have witnesses. Update. I'm fuming. I just spoke with a colleague, John, who was part of the video call that day, and he told me that Sarah's been telling everyone that it's me who's been bullying her and making her feel insecure about her appearance. By having big boobs? This is why it's so important to report this ASAP. You stood up to her, and now she's trying to get everyone to think that you're the bully, and she was just defending herself so that she can avoid consequences. When she made those comments during the meeting, it was in retaliation to how I made her feel. Apparently, I said she looks like a boy and called her flat-chested and ugly several times in the past. I have never and would never say this. I don't even understand the stupid boy body insult because a small bust has always looked very beautiful and classy in my eyes. Anyway, John knows she's lying and has suggested we speak to HR. The others will also back me up. I know most people here suggested I do this and I wasn't sure at first, but F it, I'm reporting her. I don't know why I ever considered her my friend. She's effing mental and annoying. Update 2. Now I feel stupid for even asking the question, am I the a-hole? I thought I may have been at one point because the video call was amongst mostly workmates rather than clients, and I wasn't sure if my sensitivity towards my body image made me overreact to a joke that could have been innocent. I now realise it wasn't. I've also spoken to another coworker who's closer to Sarah, and she thinks Sarah may have already reported me to HR. She said the phone conversation we had after the meeting was filled with abusive bullying language and physical threats. It wasn't a pleasant phone call, but the worst thing I said was she can go F herself and that I don't ever want to speak to her again. The rest of the conversation was just rehashing all the comments she made about my body and how it made me feel. She also claimed that I've been making inappropriate jokes about her appearance and work ethic through the years, and this confrontation was a long time coming. She also suggested that I've convinced the guys in the office to take my side by being a flirt and a tease. Did I mention that I'm stupidly shy? My head is swimming, and I think I may be dealing with an actual psycho. I don't know how it's come to this ridiculous level of craziness. All I wanted to do was get on with my effing work in peace and get through this awfulness. But now I have to deal with this BS. Update 3. I've contacted HR with my complaint. I have a lot of old text messages and emails with comments and memes Sarah has sent me making fun of my chest size. John and other colleagues are fully supporting me, as well as my manager. It will take a while for them to get back to me, but I'm confident that things will be sorted out and Sarah will be dealt with. In hindsight, I should have confronted Sarah more sternly in the past, but I guess I was trying to avoid conflict. Update 4. The coworker Lucy, who keeps in contact with Sarah and told me earlier that Sarah may have reported me to HR, just phoned to tell me that Sarah has suffered a serious panic attack. Lucy doesn't want to take sides, but has suggested that I reconsider taking drastic action. Sarah is too unwell to talk to me herself, but has asked that I drop my complaint and she'll drop hers, citing the whole thing as a misunderstanding and stress-induced disagreement. I've had panic attacks before in my life, and I seriously felt like I was going to die. It's a horrible feeling, and if Sarah has honestly just had one herself, I don't want to push her too far. I still want to address her comments over the video call, but I'm wondering if I should just drop the other complaints. Sarah has asked to move teams, so we won't directly work with one another, but it doesn't seem like she wants to apologize yet. And just to clarify to people who assumed I was wearing a bikini top or boob tube during the meeting, I wasn't. It was a short sleeve plain t-shirt which hugged my breasts more than my usual baggy tops. Sarah sounds like a classic narcissist. She bullied you for years, you stood up to her, and she tried to bury you. It didn't work, so now she's trying to get you to back off. Not by actually acknowledging what she did and apologizing, but saying, "We both said some things, it was all just a misunderstanding, let's just bury the hatchet." The thing is, her hatchet is blunt and she only just realized it. If you didn't have all the evidence you do, she may very well have been able to manipulate everyone into believing that you were the bully. And I promise you, she wouldn't have hesitated to bury the hatchet in your effing head. I don't like to hold grudges, and I think getting her fired during a time like this may be a bad thing to do. I feel like she's already punished herself enough by displaying this effed up behaviour to others and losing a lot of respect from coworkers. If we don't ever have to interact with one another, I'm up for that. I have a suspicion that Sarah may have found this post and read it, which I thought I'd feel bad about, but I really don't care. Last update. I'm not dropping any of the complaints. Sarah, F you, Michelle, and I have spoken. And although it started off promising, she is mentally unhinged and without conscience. I didn't realize how deep her hatred runs. Not only did she mock all those things I told her in confidence about the way my family treated me growing up, but she accused me of effing every guy from work to get ahead. Now I know where some of those fake office rumors about me came from. I've been such a naive idiot. I've allowed my shyness and aversion to conflict to stop me from fighting people who manipulate and walk all over me. I don't need this misery in my life. If she's reading this, get some professional help. I know you desperately fancy John, and as you said, despise the way he looks at me. I know it bothers you that he took my side and has been a great support. Well, I'm going for drinks with him. While it's weird for your friend to be so obsessed with your boobs, it'd be alright for your husband to be, right? Unless by obsessed, I mean he's constantly nagging you to get a boob job. Well, that's exactly what OP's husband is doing in the next video. Click here to see that, and thanks for watching.